first state to criminalize abortions based on gender of a fetus or race of a fetus after Governor Jan Brewer signed the measure into law yesterday. Doctors who perform abortions based on gender or race could now face up to 7 years in jail in Arizona. In Chicago, recent billboards by a group called Life Always, which is affiliated with Heroic Media, claim that every 21 minutes our next possible leader is aborted. They were placed in predominantly African-American neighborhoods. In New York, billboards declaring that the most dangerous place for an African-American is in the womb were taken down after the mother of the child in the stock photo demanded an apology for using her image. Heroic Media, which is running the, quote, Planned Parenthood Aborts African Americans campaign, has hosted Mike Huckabee and Sarah Palin as keynote speakers at its fundraisers. Brian Follett, the owner of Heroic Media, said that 20% from the proceeds of an event with Sarah Palin were earmarked for African-American outreach in the inner city. Joining me now is Michelle Goldberg, a columnist for the Daily Beast and author of The Means of Reproduction, Sex, Power, and the Future of the World. Thanks for joining us today,
Hi,
Michelle.
thanks for having me.
Is there a linkage here in this movement of these new tactics in the anti-abortion campaign?
Well, it's not new, but they're stepping up. There's been a campaign by the anti-abortion movement for several years now to kind of wrap itself in the mantle of the civil rights movement and to pretend that it's the continuation of the civil rights movement, really, instead of the antithesis of it. So this idea that they're really just concerned about black babies and they're really just concerned about abortion in the African-American community has come out of that, has come out of this longstanding effort, and so you see it in different ways. You see this kind of farcical bill in Arizona, which is banning race-based abortion as if either mothers are seeking out abortions because they don't like the race of their fetus, which is nonsensical, or doctors are preying on minority women, trying to cajole them or force them into abortions, which is also just a kind of lunatic fantasy that's been dreamed up by the right. But it's part of the same idea.
And by the way, the only way you could enforce that is that the mother would have to say to you, I want to do this abortion because of the gender of the fetus or because of the race of it.
Well, what's insidious about this law is that to a certain extent it's almost like these constitutional amendments banning Sharia. It's one of these things that's banning a non-existent problem, so who really cares? It's really just meant to kind of reify their own propaganda. What is insidious is that we've never before had in this country reason-based bans on abortion. When you go for an abortion, you don't have to tell the doctor why you're having it. That's what's so sinister here.
Where is this going? Are there more ideas in the pipeline? Are there more experiments that they're running out there?
Well, what usually happens is, you know, the states are the, in this case, the laboratory of extremism, so that different states will kind of experiment with different kinds of laws. They'll see what is and isn't constitutionally permissible. Right now, we're seeing a kind of absolute barrage, probably more anti-abortion laws going in the state legislatures right now than ever before in history, and people are trying different tactics all over the place. You know, in South Dakota, they recently passed this law saying that if you want an abortion, you first have to meet with an anti-abortion Christian crisis pregnancy counselor. Arizona is again trying this other tactic, which is based on this long-standing propaganda campaign to paint family planning as some kind of assault on African Americans.
I wish we had more time. Author and columnist for the Daily Beast, Michelle Goldberg, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.